We begin the season of Lent with an urgent question. Who does God permit to dwell in his presence? In hearing the answer to this question, might we find God summoning us once again to live just as we were created to live, and might hear a word of assurance reminding that through Jesus Christ, God has already secured our place with him. We read these words from Psalm 15. Lord, who may dwell in your sacred tent, who may live on your holy mountain? The one whose walk is blameless, who does what is righteous, who speaks the truth from their heart, whose tongue utters no slander, who does no wrong to a neighbor and casts no slur on others, who despises a vile person but honors those who fear the Lord, who keep an oath even when it hurts and does not change their mind, who lends money to the poor without interest, who does not accept a bribe against the innocent. Whoever does these things will never be shaken. This is the word of the Lord.
In the Maranatha Messenger that came out last weekend, there was a quote by Robert Weber. It was a quote about Lent, and this is what he writes. He says, Lent calls us back to God, back to basics, back to the spiritual realities of life. It calls us to put to death the sin and the indifference we have in our hearts toward God and our fellow persons, and it beckons us to enter once again into the joy of the Lord, the joy of a new life born out of a death to the old life. There's something about that quote, and even more so, there's something about the presence of a stark, rugged cross that grabs our attention, that reminds us that living our lives is really a matter of life and death. There's something about that quote, something about the cross that calls us out of the banalities and the trivialities of sin, and thus helps set our attention, our minds, our hearts where they ought to be. So a very natural question arises, where do you want to live? Now that's maybe not the question that you anticipated coming out of that lead-in, but it's the question that we're prompted to ask by Psalm 15. Where do you want to live? It's such a basic question. It's one we've probably toyed around with in our own minds. It's one that we've had to make a decision on at some point. Some people might dream about where they want to live, a particular neighborhood, maybe even a particular house in a particular neighborhood. Some people have a dream location. This past fall during the presidential election campaign, certain authors and certain circles were writing about how they want to live in Canada. During the typically cold and gray days of January, I like to live somewhere warm or somewhere at least that's sunny, right? Where do you want to live? HGTV has recognized that this is a question that it's not just basic, but it's one that intrigues us. Almost every one of their shows basically plays a game of would you rather? Would you rather live in a new house or in a fixer-upper? Would you rather live downtown in the city or out in the suburbs? It's a question that intrigues us, it draws us in, and it generates a significant amount of revenue for HGTV. Where do you want to live? For the faithful and true Israelites of yesteryear, there was only one answer to that question. And the answer to the question was, we want to live in the presence of the Lord, in the presence of the Creator God. That presence was made tangible for them by way of the tabernacle in the desert and then by way of the temple in Jerusalem. This is where they wanted to live. They wanted to live in the presence of the Lord, in the presence of the Creator God, because this is the one place where they could count on safety and security and well-being. They knew that to live in the presence of the Lord meant that they could settle down and make routines. They could have children and raise them. They could build houses and actually live in them. They would not need to fear the terrors of the night, the arrows that would fly by. They wouldn't have to fear any of that. We hear this testimony, this belief about the presence of the Lord coming through in the Psalms. Here are a couple of their testimonies. One thing I ask from the Lord, this only do I seek, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to gaze on the beauty of the Lord and to seek him in his temple. For in the day of trouble, he will keep me safe in his dwelling. This is where they wanted to be. Psalm 46 testifies to the same thing. The world is a scary, uncertain, changing, tumultuous place. God's our refuge and strength and ever-present help in trouble. Therefore, we will not fear, even though the earth may give way and the mountains may fall into the heart of the sea, though its waters would surge and roar and roam, and the mountains would quake with their trembling. And then there's this scene of tranquility and peace. The psalmist says, there's this river whose streams make glad the city of God, the holy place where the Most High dwells. God is within her. She will not fall. God will help her at break of day. Where do you want to live? For the faithful and true Israelites of yesteryear, there was only one answer to that question. They wanted to live in the presence of the Lord. This was the place where the well-ordering of society was ensured and the well-being of individuals was guaranteed. Where do you want to live? So it raises a most urgent question. Well, Lord, who may live there? If this is the one place where everybody wants to live, Lord, who may live there? It's an urgent question then and now. Millions upon millions of people flee communities today because they are marked by an absence of just order. They're marked by the rule of tyrants or gangs or militants. They need to flee. They want to get out of there. They're longing for safety and security. They may hear about this place that the Psalms and prophets testify to, a place where safety and security is guaranteed. And they may say, well, who may live there? The answer comes back. Well, it's the righteous ones. It's the morally upright ones. It's those who are blameless. We might think in terms of the second greatest commandment. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. This answer given in Psalm 15 is an answer that reflects the social dimension of life. God has a neighborhood we might think about in his presence, and this psalm helps us think about how God wants that neighborhood populated with really good neighbors. Think of the description given of the person who is allowed to dwell in the presence of the Lord. The psalmist invites these reflections. Here's a person who looks to the Lord at all times, who listens carefully for the voice of the Lord, and then who responds by obeying that voice. This is a person who is righteous in all of his or her relationships, meaning the person always does what the relationship requires and never fails. This is a person whose words can be trusted. These words come from the heart. Their word is as good as gold. This is a person who never tears down the reputation of another. This is a person who never wrongs their neighbor. This is a person who doesn't speak a derogatory word about anybody. This is a person who recognizes the prideful arrogance and the foolish folly of the wicked and wants nothing to do with that, but in contrast, recognizes the beauty of a life lived in obedience to the Lord, reverences, reveres properly those who live such lives, and desires fellowship within a community of such persons. The person who is permitted to live in the presence of the Lord is one who makes promises to people to care for them and to oversee their well-being, and makes good on those promises, even when it might come to show that it's going to require a significantly higher cost than what you anticipated. You might think of somebody who says, I will care for you, Mom, I will care for you, Dad, in your old age, and then only in time begins to realize what that commitment is actually going to require and sticks with the commitment. This is the type of person. It's the type of person who will never make money, profit at the expense of the poor. It's the type of person who is never going to take a bribe and earn a profit at somebody else's expense. It's quite a list. It's a description of quite a person. It's the description of quite a community, and it's a description that both surprises and summons. It surprises and it summons. It surprises because when we think of places where we would most want to live, when we think of the exclusive places to live, and we think about who has access to those places, maybe the average person that we might encounter might say, well, who gets to live in those best places? Well, I can tell you who lives in those best places. Maybe it's the wealthy. They can afford to live where they want to live. They can buy the places where they want to live. They can even sometimes dictate the amount of access that the general public has to public places. The wealthy, of course, get to live where they want to live, in the best places. They might also say the powerful get to live where they want to live. They might have political power, they might have military power, but they've got the means to make it happen. If they want to live in a certain place, they can live where they want to live. They might also say, well, those who stand out in some way may get to live where they want to live. Maybe they'll be granted special access if they're eloquent, if they're beautiful, if they're a top performer in the arts or in sports. They might get to live where they want to live. Some cultures might say the young get to live where they want to live because they're so full of vitality. And maybe other cultures say, well, the elderly get to live where they want to live because they are so wise. Maybe in some places it's the techie or the accomplished who get to live where they want to live because their skills are so valued. That's how a lot of people would think. And we notice that Psalm 15 moves in a very different direction. Psalm 15 doesn't condemn wealth. Psalm 15 doesn't condemn accomplishment. But neither does it give them pride of place. Who may live in your presence, O Lord? Well, let me tell you, it's the righteous one. It's the blameless one. It's the one who looks to the Lord and listens for his voice and lives according to that voice and is always a good neighbor in every situation. That's who may live in God's neighborhood. That'll surprise some people. We might take a step back and say, ooh, that says something really good about who God is, though, and what God is like. If these are the kinds of people that God wants in his neighborhood, that suggests to us that God is righteous and gracious and good. But while this answer surprises some, it's also going to summon. It summons us, and the answer summons all who hear it. It summons us because we read a list like that and we begin to think, what kind of person am I becoming, or what kind of community are we becoming? Does it match that list, or does the answer point in a different direction? Do you ever get caught off guard by that question? What kind of person am I becoming? Maybe you hear yourself speak a word or a phrase, or maybe you recognize a thought that you're thinking, or you take note of something you just did, and something halts you. And you say, is that who I've become? I had a question like that pop into my head unexpectedly within the last year. I can remember the spot. I was driving around the corner of Waverly and 32nd Street, and the thought pops into my head, is my character significantly different today than it was 10 years ago? And if you ever have that question, you almost stop and you think, ooh, what does it look like now? So you do a quick inventory and you think back to 10 years ago or 6 months ago, and you say, well, this is who I was then and this is who I am now. I'm glad that I see gains, improvements. My character is strengthening. And at all of us, I suspect, would take a look at that question and say, even if we can take grateful note of ways in which our character is strengthened, we probably all experience gaps yet. Even though this is where I am now, I'd really like to be there. I'm not quite yet the person that I'd really want to be. When I look at where I am and who I am and compare where I am with the list in Psalm 15, I recognize that there's a gap between here and there, and I really want to get there. So if that tracks with you in any way, shape, or form, then together we need to hear two things this morning about this summons. And the first thing we say about that summons is that this is a really gracious summons, where God would put a list like that in Psalm 15 before us and say, this is who I have created you to be, who I intend you to be. This is who I want you to be and who you really want to be. You can live there. Think about this in terms of maybe how the Israelites would have first heard instruction, formal instruction from the Lord, their rescuer. They're gathered around Mount Sinai. The Lord says, I have brought you up and out of the land of Egypt. You are my chosen people, my treasured possession. And here's instruction. You're going to worship me. Don't make any images of me. Speak about me truthfully. Here, I'll give you a day of rest. Honor it. Honor your father and your mother. Don't murder, don't steal, don't commit adultery, don't bear false testimony against somebody else, and don't covet anything that your neighbor has. Now, you hear that instruction, and you can only conclude that they must have heard this as great freedom. Because you think of the context where they came out of. They're back in Egypt. They're slaves. They're nobodies. They're treated harshly. They're oppressed. Their humanity has been snuffed out of them, essentially. And now they hear this set of instruction. This is how you are to live. And it's full of substance. It's full of love. It's full of generosity. It's full of justice. It's true of acting rightly and preserving the well-being of a community. And it's no surprise that the Israelites respond after all of this by saying, we will do everything that you have said. And this is true of us as well. But we see the list in Psalm 15. We recognize it as a summons, and we see that list and we say, but that's really what we want. That's how we want to live. So we can do our own game of would you rather in our minds, and we use it to assess who we are, how we might spend our time. Would I rather gossip about somebody or build somebody up with a word of encouragement? Would I rather hoard a couple of extra dollars for myself or spend it generously to meet the need of somebody else? Would I rather piddle away a little bit more time on a device or set it down and engage in some play with a child, a grandchild, with a grandparent, with a parent? Would I rather drift away from my spouse or make good on my commitment to my spouse? Would I rather watch another rerun of another episode? Or would I rather read about how does God see fit for us to live and to address the great problems of the day? Problems of poverty, issues of immigration, crises like affordable housing. At the end of the day, we're going to say, yeah, that's how I want to live. This list is a summons, but God is doing us the favor of putting it before us to say, you are people of substance. You've been created to live as people of substance. Come enter my presence. This is how you really want to live. This is a summons, but it's a gracious summons where God calls us out of the banalities and the trivialities and the inhumanity of sin and calls us through Jesus Christ to enter the substance of life, for which we say thanks. And the other thing we say about this summons is that it points us to the fact that God, in his very nature, in his very being, is a sort of being who only seeks to welcome and enfold, to share his life, his joy, his abundance with others. We get this picture of God from the very moment God said, let there be light. when God says, let there be light, and then everything that follows, we see here God's intention, desire, longing to share his life, his joy, his abundance with all sorts of creatures, with birds in the sky and fish in the sea, with plants and trees, with people. Come, join me in this fellowship. Share with me in this goodness of life. And we see God's intention for that is so strong that even after humanity said no, God says no, yes. And I'm going to pursue you. And I'm going to pursue you because you can't enter my presence. You have no right to be there. But in Jesus Christ, I will come live with you. And I will make myself known to you. And I will show you just how deeply I desire to have you in my presence, because I will go to the cross for you. And your guilt and your shame and your burden, I'm going to take it upon my own son. And he's going to pay the penalty for it so that you can be with me here. And as we watch the life of Jesus Christ and hear the testimony about him, we come to find that he's the only person whose life is matched by the description in Psalm 15. And we recognize that in living that life, Jesus earns credit for our account, so it's as though we lived that life. And in dying his death, we come to find that even though we have failed in 1,000,001 ways to live up to that list, he has taken our guilt upon himself, so that when we hear God say, as far as the east is from the west, so far have I removed your transgressions from you. When we hear God say that, we might believe it and know that we have been forgiven and set free and welcomed back into his presence, where we might joyfully live out his instruction for us and be the people of substance that he's always called us to be. That's what we remember together this morning as we come to the table of our Lord. On the night that Jesus was betrayed, he took the bread and he gave thanks for it and he broke it. And he said, "This is my body and it's for you. Do this in remembrance of me." And on that evening, he also took the cup. And he gave thanks for the cup. And he gave it to his disciples, and he said, "This is the blood of my covenant. And it's poured out for many for the forgiveness of sins." We come to the table this morning recognizing that none of us has a right to enter the presence of God, to live in the presence of the Lord. We've fallen short of the glory of God in numerous ways, and that description in Psalm 15 is, well, there's a gap between us and it. And yet we also come to the table of our Lord this morning remembering that God so desires to have us in his presence. That's why he created us. And he's made a way back into it through Jesus Christ. And Jesus, as the risen Savior, now bids us to come and to follow him into the presence of his Father and ours, so that we might share in the life and in the joy and in the abundance of God, and that we might live there knowing that we have nothing to fear. So this morning we're going to literally come to the table. We're going to invite you to come forward, come down the center aisle. You're going to take the bread. You're going to eat. And remember and believe that the body of our Lord Jesus Christ was given for the complete forgiveness of all of your sins. And then you're going to take the cup and you're going to drink. You're going to remember and believe that the blood of our Lord Jesus Christ was shed for the complete forgiveness of all of your sins. And then you can return to your seat by way of the side aisle. We recognize that not everybody might be comfortable coming forward, and some might have a physical limitation that prohibits their coming forward. If that's the case, you may remain where you are. We'll have a couple of elders on the side aisles kind of taking note. If you would rather take communion from where you're seated, just make eye contact with an elder or wave them down, they will bring the elements to you. And if you're visiting with us today and you've been baptized and you acknowledge that Jesus is indeed your Savior and Lord, we invite you to join us in the participation of the Lord's Supper today. If you're here with us today and you say, today I'm just not ready for whatever reason that might be, we invite you to take some time to reflect. In the worship folder, there's a couple of prayers that you might read through and reflect on who Jesus is. Offer a prayer acknowledging Jesus' life and presence. But at this time, it's our privilege to come to the table. So the elders are going to come forward, and they're going to make stations here. There'll be a couple in the aisles. Amber is going to lead from the piano and some music as we participate in this together. But as we get situated, we invite you to stand, to come forward, to take the bread, to take the cup, and to remember that through Jesus Christ, God has made a way for us back into his joyful presence.